Is this working? That's the big question. This is rather loud. Um, Let me see. Of course I'm late. Always late. It's not true actually. Normally, if I have an appointment, I'm always on time. But this time I try something new. First set a timer, then try something. Not the best, I think. Can you hear me, George, by the way? Indeed. Is there sound? Okay, loud and clear, nice. So what I'm gonna do, this is the design. Let me disable this music for a while. Although I would love to have some music in the background, but so it's the same thing I made last time, but this time I skipped a part already. But if you really want to know how to create your own laminate, for instance, might do that. I mean, everyone asks, do you have a laminate? But you can make your own if you want. It's limited in thickness in aluminium, but on the other hand, you can choose whatever kind of mylar, which is, of course, nice. Um, One thing, how am I able to read a chat right now? That's a good question. So it is all connected to my streaming software in one room, and the webcam there is standing already at the table with all the mess. But I cannot see or read the comments then. So I have to grab a laptop as well, I guess. Jeez, what amount of crap you need to do just a simple stream. Well, I'll get back to the living room and grab a laptop. Disable this mic. This is this one here. Disable this mic. This is this one here. So this should work as well. I should be. You can hear me here as well. I cannot read comments yet. So it's Friday, so we need a beer. Maybe some tobacco for those that smoke. And some room for a laptop. Maybe I can make some room over here for a laptop. I need I don't know, more space. So let's grab my measuring laptop. And hope the battery will last. Not if it takes 3 hours, but it's not gonna take 3 hours this time. Uh, yeah. So it's all disconnected. No, I don't want to save it. So now I have to watch my own stream to see what you guys say. Because it's more fun that way.
Otherwise I could just make it not live. So I have to browse to my own channel and see what's going on. I think that's the method. I'm not sure yet. Is this ill-prepared? I don't know. I mean, I never do this kind of stuff, so I make it a little bit more complex every now and then. Okay, so that works. I don't want sound, of course. Ill-prepared? I don't know. I mean, I never... Since I don't have to hear myself. Am I loud enough? Or can I be louder? Doesn't have to be in the image. Just fine, okay. Alright. So, what shall we do? I already prepared a foil that I already etched as well. Since I'm not gonna bore you with that once more. Since it's the same method every time. It's the same as I did last time, sort of. Except thinner traces and a laminate that I made myself. So maybe that's a good thing to start off with, making a laminate yourself. And in this case I just use normal aluminium tape. So I have this big roll, but you can use, you know, just the normal aluminium tapes you can get in like normal size this, but also 100 and 150, well, slightly less this, or 60. I think this is this 60? 50. This stuff comes in 30 microns, 50 microns, 100 microns. That's really heavy. But yeah, no less than 30. At least I could not find it thinner than this. So this is what I got. I'm gonna cut off a A4 paper size once more. With my letter sized template. Why is this wet? And look for my knife. I used it like not too long ago, so it should be here somewhere. That's what you get if you touch some stuff, then you cannot find the crap you used. Maybe it fell. Did anyone see my yellow knife? Since I don't. Fucking hell. I found it. I misplaced it. Boop. Ain't that noise? So that's one. I'll put it there. Then we grab some mylar. I have a piece of 3 micron lying around here, so I'm gonna use this. At least I believe it is 3 micron. Just gonna lay it down here. Doesn't have to be like tensioned or flat or whatever. Just like this. And then I have this kind of, what is it, frame. And I'm gonna spray paint or spray glue one side of it. I'm not gonna do it here because I don't want to spray glue here. So I'll be right back. It is hobby spray glue, and the reason why that's nice is it adheres temporarily, so you can get rid of this mylar again. So just drop it on. Yeah, whistling is always nice in a mic. Everyone loves that. So this is really floppy and stuff. Yeah, 3M remount would do the same. This is like a $2 spray glue, which works perfectly fine and costs probably like one-fifth of 3M. I mean, I use it for like a few seconds. Now I need some power, so I'm gonna borrow it from my camera, since it's plugged in permanently. Use a heat gun, just a normal paint burner. We don't want it to be like really stretched, just like slightly tensioned, so no wrinkles are there. I'll put this aside. And I'll give my phone some power once more. There we go. It's too bad this is reflective, but nothing I can change about that. Time for some little soapy water thingy. Just a bit. Sprayed on there. Got my piece of foil that I cut earlier. Got my favorite roller. I like to get rid of all the crap around it. Everyone knows where this is going, I'm pretty sure. It's not rocket science, but then again, I wonder why people even ask sometimes. I lift up one corner, so I burn away the backing a bit. Then I found that putting it, like grabbing it with the knife and just use your nails to make a start is the easiest way. Then try rolling it back without lifting it, which will happen here in the corner, I think. No. And we get our foil. Let's make sure there is no pus on there. So no hairs, or at least not many. I mean, I don't clean it, and the reason is this stuff will stick to anything, so. Now this is the part that sometimes fails. I could use a roller, but what I noticed is that the frame is not big enough to do this correctly without creating bubbles. And I wish I had a piece of paper right now. The one I just... Oh, well, I dropped it. Threw away. This one here. Maybe a dry one would be nicer. And we're just gonna try and move from the middle to outwards. And since the glue is pressure sensitive, just used to use some pressure and put it down. Press it on there. So the thing is, if you use this kind of technique, you're like, you know, you cannot, at least I couldn't find any thinner than 30 micron. There is, I think, thinner, because I have one roll, but it's not wide enough. That is thinner. Then you have, of course, the glue, but you can choose whatever kind of mylar you want to use. I even got a thing here, I think. Here I did the same with Captain, although this is with 6.8 micron foil. It didn't came with adhesive, so this is the crappy method. It works, but more work. This is rather easy, just put it on there, and the glue is really nicely spread over there and really tacky. I think this will break soon, like completely. Now let's see if the thing wants to let go. Oh, no, it doesn't, then I'll just cut it loose, mostly. doesn't look straight. This knife is like, I've had it for like 5 years or something, still cuts. Might need to buy a new one just because I use it so much. Might work better even. Well, there you have a foil. It's not bad. There is at least one pussy hair here. Not pussy, but puss hair. You know what I mean. Normally I would clean this and like rough it up, but in this case I'm not going to because I'm not gonna use it straight away. And I can clean it now, but then I can clean it once more when I'm actually gonna use it. Hey puss, here you go. Go check it out. So this is the same laminate I used on the design I just etched. I might ask, why does it look so ugly? And that's the chalk powder to make sure that the parts that are blank, these parts that are blank, exposes the adhesive of the aluminium foil, which is really sticky. Also in between the traces, of course. So you have to use some chalk powder to get rid of this adhesion. Or adhesive, well, it's not going away, it just doesn't stick anymore. So I am gonna cut one for one of the frames. First get a sip of beer. It's really nice weather outside. Why am I sitting here? There's something horribly going wrong with the scaling. I'll try and fix that, sorry. What the fuck? One moment. Well, that looks better, I think. Show the kind of spray glue. Well, you won't be, you cannot find it in the US. It's like hobby spray glue from the Action, a store that you don't have either. It's the cheapest crappy can of spray glue you can find. Because it only holds it like, you know, a little bit. So if it holds it like even shittier, that would be great. A bit of audio delay. Yeah, that could well be, because I'm streaming this to my computer and from the computer to YouTube. Weirdly enough. I should check next time what the normal delay is, and maybe I can compensate the video or delay the video so it will like corresponds again. I'm not sure if I'm able to check this. I'm pretty new to this software. Using it. Cleo, what's up? You want something to eat? Iets eten, poes. Kom maar. Give poes something to eat. Alles opeten, poes. Niet alles laten liggen en dan in de temper uitstikken. Ja, ja. I need to enlarge this if I can because I'm blind. That's better. Ooh, that's too much. Yeah, delay is an issue, I think. There's nothing I can do about that, I think. Not for this moment, at least. What's this weird layout? Sorry, I'm dicking around with the laptop because I would love to be able to read the chat as well. Okay. So, let me get the frames as well. Frame. I reclaimed these two frames. One has bigger holes. This is the one I'm gonna use. This is one that I'm gonna use some threading. So I'll put it aside before I use the wrong one. They're not as clean as a new one, of course, because it's been into glue and such, but anyhow. So I did make something to line it up easier this time. So I'll cut one coil off. This time leave extra material instead of cutting it off as I did last time. Also see if I can make it square. That's not square. And I think of it, this floppy thing here is not very helpful. I'll just cut it off. I wish it was helpful. It might be if I put a tape on there right now, which I'm gonna do. And I think of it, I'm not going to. No, I'm not. Next time I'll make sure it's also blacked out by the printer, so I got some aluminium to grab on. Also waste less etchant. So every time you do this, you think of something that is annoying, and you can change it, of course. So I'm gonna cut it off. Oh. Ah, fuck. Yeah, really. Did you see it like twist? Whoops. There it is, gone. Well, next one. I got a few, thank God. Why would things go correct in one go? This one is a bit more fragile than the one I did on the last video. Since all the traces are half the width. So, this one, please go over there. It's corrugated. Try to feed it as straight as possible, but it's kinda hard. Backside looks nicer than the front. Still some ink sitting on the glue. I knew, you know what I used to get rid of the ink. It's the same stuff that also dissolves the glue, so it's not gonna work. Time for some double-sided tape once more. Now, the great part. But I am gonna do it differently. I'm gonna remove the backing. Stick it on there again once more, but leave a tiny piece of the tape. It's hardly visible. So there's a bit of tape here. So I hope I can align it a little bit. There's like a, a trace here that flaps in the breeze. And this thing here, the black, is the end of the frame. Might have drawn this one too short or something. Not sure yet. Tensioning is gonna be harder this time. Ah, fuck, this is really annoying. So I really need that flap, as you... It screws up my whole idea. I need a flap on here, otherwise I cannot tension it straight. It's not bad, but it's definitely not perfect. Although it's a quite simple design, it's quite annoying to use. Let me give an idea for you. Try and make a design with clad knee plate base model frequency range with ribbon. What the... I'm not sure what that is. Sounds like something from another planet. What is Klutny plate base? Some manufacturers avoid putting the voice coil directly underneath the magnets. What do you mean by that? Benefits of AMT to planar ribbon. Well, AMT is just a normal planar, except it is like sideways. and it pushes the air out, which is nice. You can get high efficiency. Higher efficiency, if it also gets too high output, that means you can get lower distortion. But downside is that since it's sort of like a lot of tiny planar magnetics next to each other, you won't reach low. You won't get a low resonance, never. At least, well, almost never. Everything you can buy has a pretty high resonance. Why? Because it's easier to construct. I know a guy on DIY audio, we played with this a lot, especially Bonsai. He made ones with really floppy material and such that had like resonance of 400, which is unheard of. He sent me one of his membranes. They were really nice, by the way. I give it a try as well a few times, but mine never looked as good as his, to be honest. And I gave up because it's quite hard to get low. Geometric designs with sound. Yeah, it still doesn't say anything. At least, I don't know what you mean still. It is a geometric design. Everything is, but... Tick, 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 you hear. And that's the membrane hitting their frame. So this design, I have to redo some stuff. Not so much, well, purely to make it simpler to put it on. And I'm not sure why this is different than the other version. I think they were as long, but this thinner stuff behaves differently. I don't know. It's just more fiddly. If you watched yesterday, that was a lot faster without too much swearing. Not sure if I swear it right now. I think so. Probably will. I can still do it if you want. But I didn't like this design. I'm not even sure if it survived. So let's add some connection points. Reason why I don't add damping on the back already is because there's no way of removing it if I don't like it. Probably there should be some dampening, especially if you want to use it down low. But yeah, there's no way back. So now I can add damping like filth or something. Otherwise, I'm stuck with it. And I really like this method of connecting it. Yesterday I soldered one, which is not nice, because once more I used the wrong frame. You have to use the wrong frame every now and then. It's amazing that people are bored during this corona time. I don't even have enough time still. Although I'm out of work right now. And I have to sit inside. You have been cursing a lot. Nah. I think it can be worse. I think Dutch are known for a lot of cursing. Also, the Dutch have curse words you would never use in any other language. Like if something goes wrong, people might say shit, or some say chips, which is really not done for me, sorry, but the Dutch use like all kinds of diseases. Like cancer and typhus. Tearing, I'm not sure what that is in the Is it Black Death or something? I don't know. So there's something we can do really well, that is swearing. It's at least something. Okay, well, it's not, well, it's, well. You can see like kind of a whoop bending thing. It's because I stretched it here and here, and I could not. Well, first of all, I don't have fingers to use 3. Well, I do, but you cannot grab it then. Yeah. So I need something stiff at the end to do this properly. But it does align. Oh, it's out of frame, sorry. You can see that the magnets are blocking all these lines. So it is aligned properly. Yes, okay, George, yeah. What you mean, it's still for me, I have no clue why they do it. Since, yeah, every design I used, I extended as far as I can, but there's one thing, you cannot cross, for instance. You probably know, but I'm just explaining. This trace here cannot extend beyond that point. So if the magnet is in the middle of this bigger leftover mylar, if this trace, this one, was a little bit in the middle or just over, you're screwed, because then this trace is moving in the opposite direction. So you can do this, but you need to align it nicely, otherwise you're fucked. But why they're not using that, I'm not sure. Reason I use it is because you get a really weird resonances if you don't. You can get rid of that if you use either thicker foil or stick something on top of the spot where the magnet is sitting. So maybe they use insanely thick foil, I don't know. So let's measure if we have some conductivity. Yeah, Puss, you can have some dinner as well. Oh. You might think, why does Puss get dinner every 5 minutes? It's because she eats everything in one go and then pukes all over the place. And then is hungry again, once more. So, this one should be around 5 ohmish, so a little bit too high. So, well, you know the drill. First it's too low, then the second one is too high. You can calculate most of it, but not all of it. Ow. Yeah, 4.7. I would shoot for a 3.7 to be honest. But for now it's okay. The only thing I want to know from this panel is, does the top end extend further if you use smaller traces from the same 30 micron material? I mean, in the end there should be less material. Less 30 micron aluminium foil, while still having good coverage. And by adding traces you gain some dBs, and by hiring the impedance you lower some dBs. So I will lose output from this one compared to the 2 ohm version, definitely. Like, well, it should be 6 dB, but it could be worse. Let's fix the other panel so I can use this in push-pull straight away, because why not? Although I know not push-pull is like really straight in the top end, but I am gonna use this push-pull. So I'm grabbing a tap and a drill. So that's the cool thing about HPL. You can tap it. I mean, it's not steel, of course, but it will take. This case, you think, well, that goes easy, and that's because I oversized the holes, and the reason for that is it's easier, and I don't need like clamping force of tons. That, and if I want to screw it down on the CNC bed, my screws are just a tad over 3. So the perfect diameter for tapping a 4mm thread would be 3. But yeah, it will just break out stuff if I screw this material down on the CNC with a screw that is a wood screw that is a little bit too big for the hole. And might be ending up once more with 3.3 millimeters. So might as well just make it 3.3 straight on. So now there's this sticky stuff. I'll just probably leave it there. Yeah. Ow, my fingers. Yeah, I know I use a weird style. I mean, just posted in like every Facebook group I am, they post all the membranes with huge holes for magnets. Well, I think it's a waste of magnetic power, to be honest. Just as long as you don't cross that line. Ow, fuck. I forgot I drilled the screws, holes, a little bit oversized, so might have to align this manually. So this is the back side. I'm not sure where I want to put the thread in. In this case, it is the back side. This is the front, and you could add a front, of course, whatever. I don't know. It's just a test, I mean. It does look rather funny, to be honest. Now, hopefully it sounds kind of okay. I mean, I know I didn't stretch it perfectly. So might as well have a big fucking resonance somewhere. Uh, to limit resonances, as you said. No, the problem is that they will ensure some resonances the way they do it. At least every time I leave a too wide gap between these traces above the magnet, I'll end up with some weird peak and distortion in the really top end. The only reason why they might not have this problem is since when I played with that, I was usually using rather thin mylar, like 12 micron, and very thin foil, like 9. All the companies, at least the B&Gs and such, the Calidex material is way thicker. It's nothing near 12 micron. It's like at least double, maybe even triple that. So the reason might be that also because it's Calidex and it should be less noisy, as they say, but it's also less noisy because it's way thicker. So there's a kind of a region where thickness makes it less noisy and when it makes it noisier. I mean, if you go to 1 micron mylar, that's not very noisy. Well, it is a little bit, but way up higher in the frequency. But with thicker foil, you can have higher tension, and this resonance problem on top of the magnet might not be there, which I could not achieve with my thin 12 micron mylar. My music stopped. So we can go to, let me first, what's wise? I should make a measurement of the tweeter that's in there first, I think. Don't want to swap it non-stop. It's a bit of a mess there, but let's go. Well, I do need my laptop then, so I cannot watch the stream at the same time, I think. So... So this is the weird setup. This is a really weird setup. Let me lower this. So yeah, this is the test baffle, and it houses one of the. It's housing the tweeter I made a few days ago, also live thing. Here I'll play a tune where it plays to 250 real quick. It's funny. I probably will be losing demonetized thing. Shit. So I have to tape in the other tweeter as well. There's one extra magnet on here. I should remove it because if I can. No, fuck it. It's not completely fair, but screw it. I know the new one I make will be far less efficient. It's okay. Let me play something real quick. I'll play it full range just for fun and giggles. I mean, of course it's a phone, so it's not gonna sound full range to you, but what's this settings? Is this really old? cross it at 120, for instance. At 24 to be broke off. Kind of dumb, but. That's a little bit higher. Let's make it 114. It's not meant to play that low, of course. Well, anyhow, I'll cross it at a normal, I don't know, let's try 400 hertz. You know, just for measuring real quick. Disable the EQ, so I had to get rid of some top end, which I'm gonna disable because I just want to measure this thing real quick before I put the other one in. This is around 1 meter distance, but don't care too much because I'm not looking for efficiency or anything, as long as I see the difference between the two. I know I go in the right direction or the wrong direction. I don't hear anything, so probably settings are wrong. Yes. Focus right. Yes, please. I want to use ACO. Focus right. Two outputs if I can. Yes, please. So that's one. Let's move in the other one. I'll show you the. So that's the one I made yesterday in push pull. So it has this in a huge baffle, but this is bothering me. Although it's not a huge problem, it still bothers me. You can see it still has a little bit of rising response because it's open baffle, apparently. But yeah. But this thing at 11K is bothering me. But the further away you go, the less of a problem it becomes. So I don't know. It's probably not a big issue. I'll put in the other one. Oh, there's some damping in the back, I think. Yes. Well, I'm not going to use it for the next test and then add it afterwards. So this is a very, really nice method with tapes. Very professional. I taped off the top magnets. I will do that with the new one as well, just to make it the same. Yeah. The connections are going to be on the front side, quite annoying, but that's the way it is. That makes the tape sitting on the wrong side. That's not nice. Take this off. Not even sure if it makes a difference. Now this might be a problem, being the connectors being up there. Problem is that this is you can see a square here. It's a square I can remove, so I can test multiple tweeters. And this is a tweeter cutout for another tweeter. So, yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be in the way, I think. Ah, fuck it. So this is gonna be not as loud, I think. It's so nice to not hear like insane crappy resonances and such. That's absolutely nice. Huh. That's weird. Oh, this thing has no zoom function. Go to clip and description, fade, double, stop, focus. Aha, okay, I cannot zoom with this. That's annoying. I'll grab the laptop then. Green is the new tweeter. Only thing is it has this peak heavier, I think, which is weird. Not too sure what it is. Let's see how many dBs lower it is in output. So I'll take the worst spot. 97.6 compared to 84.4. Yeah, so around 5 dB at the worst spot. Still not bad. I mean, it's more than twice the impedance. So, let's put the felt behind it that was also in the first test, because otherwise it's not fair. And I will make these bigger, I'm pretty sure. But as you've seen, my corrugator can only handle so much. So this is with felt. Yeah, it remains. There's some breakup, or I don't know what it is. The sort of swing here. Floop. But it's only there in push-pull, which is weird. Let's look at the distortion real quick. Oh yeah, there you can see it. I think that's related. So the distortion, this is like really insanely good, or nice enough at least, or insanely good. I mean, it's rather good. But then it rises and does this whoop-de-doo. Not sure what that is. Now let's see how low it can go, because that's really important for a tweeter. Not really, but so now it was crossed at 400 hertz. Let's move it downward. See where the resonance is. 200 hertz. I did not hit the X-Max, or we would hear something like flopper flop, a really terrible sound. 150. There it was. That's still not clear. I have to like do it on low volume and then give it like no EQ or 50 hertz, for instance. I'll lower the volume because it's not going to take that. Ah, thanks. Sound card is not working. Cool. It's too loud. Too loud. Oh, there it is. So it is at 100. Really? No, that's rather high-ish. Well, high. It's not high, of course, but... So 100 is... it doesn't like to play 100. So what if I like get rid of it? Like minus 16 dB. Will it be able to play full range then? No. You hit X-Max, of course. It's only like 1 millimeter, so... So yeah, not bad. I wish I knew what this weird wiggle is and what is creating this distortion at this region and why it only shows up if I use it in push-pull. Might gonna use some felt on both sides on the inside, but I always had this problem with using push-pull also in the other tweeters. And when in single-ended, it's like flat, like really flat. So another option is creating a very light, tiny version of this as a tweeter, like upper tweeter, because I'm thinking of like kind of desktop setup, you know, like flat panel desktop speakers for your computer, but then a little bit more expensive than your regular things. Of course, it needs this up under your desk. Hey, Poes? So, I'll go to the PC now for, well, I'll show, you know, I'm gonna transfer those And I'm gonna show it like on the stream so you can actually see what it is, not like a complete mess. So just name it original 2.0. Take two. These are the same. No, okay. Save as. Live stream. Stream tweeter. What? Live stream tweeter. Live stream. So it's saving it to the other computer, and then I can move this one to here. That's where I sit, I think. All kinds of tweeters and stuffies here. The mid-range as well. Yeah. What's up?
Use this mic, then
So now it's gonna be
and disable this one, then it's too early. I can see that. Way too early. Let me check if I can delay that. Hello? Hello? Whoops. Okay, I have.
Okay, I have an idea. Okay, so I'm not gonna use this one. I'll just use the mic from the camera. Also not sync, I think, but mixing like direct sound with a webcam that is like delayed is gonna be a problem, I think. So I don't have to look at this. I can see the chat this time, and I'll open up the measurements so we can so we have something to look at. So thanks, Florian. Now switch
to use this mic if I'm sitting like this. Okay, so this works. Yeah, it's great to mount speakers with duct tape. It's the best. So what are we looking at? So let's plop, plop. So this was the tweeter that was sitting in the thing before I replaced it. Gated, so it's only like from I don't know where. I could calculate that, but I didn't. I used 3 milliseconds gated, so only the top end is kind of accurate. So this is the wiggle I was talking about. I dislike. If you look at the distortion, there is also something weird going on. You know, it's going up, 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 but only second order. A third order is not possible to measure anymore, I think. So that might be the reason, but it's like climbing really weirdly. Then does a kind of wiggle. But yeah, and there's a peak here, which I'm still not sure what that is. Curious if this is also in the other version. So, and this is the one we just made. And it's 4 point, what was it, 4.7 ohms? Compared to a solid 2 ohms, the brown one. So, the green one is lower in output, but yeah, it's normal. I mean, the impedance is lower, higher. But why this wiggle is, the wiggle is stronger. I'm not sure what it is. It might be the clamps that I left on the front baffle. I hope not, or at least I hope it is. But then I have to check that, because you probably remember I said these clamps might be a problem on the front instead of the back. So I might turn it around, see if it changes anything. So if you look at the distortion here, it has also this 8K peak. Is this correct? No, I'm looking at the wrong tweeter. It doesn't have this 8K peak, so that's good. What's this? Is noise. The noise floor went up here. That's weird. And I should have measured this louder, because this 2 ohm impedance one is of course louder because it's lower impedance. I should have correct this one for it, because now almost everything falls under the noise floor, so we have no clue. That's a dumb measurement, to be honest. Sorry about that. Let's see if we waterfall. I didn't measure up that loud. No, I did. Fuck. I forgot the settings. This is not the 0.6. Thank you. I don't know what this was. Was this 100? I don't know. No, that looks crap. Damn it. I had like decent settings that were useful, and now I fucked them up. And I forgot what it was. Well, I'll look into that later on. They should be around the 0.5 milliseconds, just like most planners, or at least push-pull ones. Should not look too bad. But you do have to need to know how to use the waterfall, which I had like the proper settings, and I forgot what they were. Well, yeah. This is it playing without a, well, with a crossover at, what was it, 150 or something. But this is the tweeter. Kind of weird. Yeah, it is. I measured it today. I didn't use a woofer today, so. I'll grab a piece of tobacco. Moment. Where did I leave it? This is one of those days. Every time, if I turn around, I'm missing something. I did. Yeah. Okay, so I never grabbed it. So. If you got any questions about the measurements or something, I can. Well, yeah, I can just show it to you because I don't know what you want to know. And if I can show you. Well, yeah, I can just show it to you because I don't know what you want to know. And if I can show you, but so. All right. Disable. All right, and I should disable this one. Let me get the chat as well. Way too small. Hi, Hen. By the way. Yes, everything is well. I'm doing fine. Corona or not, it's okay with me. Oh, it's not okay, but I'm not affected. If it could be the reflection between magnets, yeah, that could well be. But it should not be. Yeah, then it should be between front and back, or maybe sideways, which is also weird. What I can try is use it single-ended and then turn it around to the magnet side and measure it. Maybe this peak is there, but the membrane itself is kind of blocking it. Could try that. No, the HPL damping, well, the HPL is not gonna move at 11 kilohertz. I mean, it has no power to move anything at 11 kilohertz. Now, I think it's reflection, or it might be the size of the membrane itself, like sort of a resonance breakup thingy. But it's kind of weird that it picks up afterward. It's also weird that it also is visible in other designs. So it must be something with the magnets or the width of the cutout. That could be it as well. The width of the cutout where the magnets are sitting. That could be it as well. Only one way to check that is making that bigger, but then of course the magnets fall out. So I have to think of maybe using steel or something just to hold them in and see what it does.
Bravo! I'm looking for rubber magnetic tape, but how should the polarity be? North below, south above. Yeah, it has to be north on top and south underneath. And anisotropic, so that's the strongest ferrite magnet. So all the ferrite is like, I think it's lined up correctly. So it has a slightly stronger magnetic field. Still not insane because it's rubber magnet, but I mean it's much better. Why is it not like taking account the light is at really bad? Well, but yeah, rubber magnet, rubber tape at least has to be like 2 millimeters thick to be of any use, because otherwise it's just way too weak. I have the magnets myself. If you really want to like make the big guns, then that is probably the easiest because it's the magnet that I used. It comes in rolls of 50 meters. I used, I'm not sure yet what I used. I thought I used for the bass part maybe 1 roll in total for both speakers, and then the cut down version for the tweeters. But that cutting down all this stuff is not so nice to do. So you might as well, instead of using this kind of tweeter, maybe like add some neos in there and just, you know, pat it down a lot and not make the tweeter as wide as it is right now. Yeah, the 2 ohm, straight to the Onkyo crappy receiver. It will shut off if it doesn't like it. It might be creating a little bit more distortion, I don't know, but 2 ohms is okay if you just not pump in a lot of power into it. I mean, it will handle. If you have a bass driver of 2 ohms, I think the amp will shut down every second. No, I'm probably not synced because this is streaming towards the software I use. It's quite annoying, I know. But otherwise, is my sound, is it like too early or too late? That would be interesting to know. Could you time it? Let me clap. You cannot time it, but if it's like seconds, you can. Let me do it once more. Is it even visible? Yeah, it is. I'll do it here in the light. The sound is too late. Okay, so I have to, let me see. This is the video. That's quite annoying. Can I delay this? I use the, wait. What if I use it like this? The sound is too early, I guess. You can buy it from me if you want. It's better, but not good. Okay, so now it's too early, I guess. I'm pretty sure it is too early now. So I can sync offset mic. sorry for the interruption, but out of sync sound is quite annoying, I know. So let's watch my own stream, it's gonna be annoying. Yeah, that's way too early. Try that once more. What am I opening? Now the sound's a little bit too early. Bam! Sync! Nothing as annoying as stuff that's not something annoying. So, the Onkyo is not as crappy. Well, it is kind of crappy. Well, at least, I mean, it's working, but I'd rather have a decent stereo amp or a quad amp. So 2 or 4 channels would be great. Stand by for audio feedback. Yeah, a little bit. Not too big, I think. So, oh, Facebook exploded. Um, any questions about the measurements? I mean, it's not like a super proper decent measurement, but maybe there's something you wanted to see, but I didn't show you or something. PS audio, well, I will never replace anything with PS audio. Sorry, I just can't stand the guy, so I'm not gonna buy their products. Yeah, that's pretty close, the sync, but it might be still like fluctuating, I don't know. Yeah, if you know if it's still too late or too early, I can change that. But like this. Maybe now the sound is too late. Who knows? No, that's rather good, I think. I hope. Ah, do they? Well, I would buy a Hypex if I would buy a plate amp or something, I think. Someone is able to get me a rather decent price on a few. But still, I don't have the money for it. It's way too expensive. The waterfall crap, don't go there. I just fucked up my settings, so... Sound is lagging by 4 or 5 seconds. That should not be the case. Is it? Are you taking a shit? It's not lagging 5 seconds. That's 0 seconds.
Okay. Except for me hearing myself, of course. Um, to hear the drivers is more significant than the measurements. Well, I think both are rather important. I mean, I would not like if it like measured completely shit. I would not say they're the best speakers. I could not like prove, you know, they are not. Then they could be like okay sounding for me. I mean, there's a difference I think in what you like and what is like perfect in terms of measurements. I mean, we're all free to choose whatever we want to listen to. I mean, if you like a certain EQ, that's fine. If you want to do that, why not? I mean, you don't know. 1 second off. 1 second is really long. Well, I'm watching the stream myself to see, and it wasn't 1 second off. Cannot be a 1 second. But I don't know what YouTube does with the stream. It should be like the same for everyone, I guess. Yeah, for me it was well dead on, as good as I can get it without like scrubbing. I mean, syncing off on stuff was one of my. Oh, the stream is like behind right now, so that might fucked up the whole thing. Um, it was my work syncing up stuff, but not with this kind of shitty method. I mean, this is just gambling. But the waterfall plot, well, there's not much to explain. I have the settings correct. Let me take another look. But I must say, I measured a little bit far away to have a decent waterfall. Let me see if I missed something on the plot. So the range should be like, what I see mostly is like 25 dBs. Fuck, I do apply defaults. It's quite annoying. I'm range. Rise time 0.6. Top is 75. Bottom is range of 30. Let's see that. I need to measure it more closely to have a decent plot, I'm afraid. That's too bad. I did. Mm, Let me check it with the ultra wide weird ribbon. I measured really close once. Just don't get the same things. Not sure why. What did I fuck up? Well, fuck it. I'm not gonna screw around with it. I'll look it up what the settings were. Sorry about that. I had a discussion with two people about the settings of RumaQ Wizard to compare it to other graphs, and I finally had like decent graphs where there was something to see that could be useful, and now I screwed it up. So yes, it is like how long it like reverberates. Besides the room, so that's why you like filter out your room, and you only have like a small domain where it is valid. Otherwise, you have to do it in an anechoic chamber, which I don't have. Um, well, new 1000. Might have a look at. This is how I called my latest creation. Ain't that funny? So that means I have to stop. No, I was like, okay, whatever kind of number I'll put here, it's gonna change anyway, so I'll make it the number 1000. Um, Martin, if these drivers working okay for you, what's your next steps? Well, what I want to do, or would like to do, is first make another one that has like really light foil and see if I can get it loud enough to have it play single-ended, so it doesn't have this weird wiggle, so I can use it in a two-way, so a very small tweeter strip, and then these units as for upper tweeter slash mid-range. I mean, as you could see, they can play really low, they can cross over really low. They won't cover the whole range depending on the huge baffle, you know, it plays really low. But on a small baffle, I'll lose a lot on, you know, baffle losses as well. So I want to make them a little bit bigger and hopefully, yeah, I don't know, as low as I can go. And maybe in combination with a tweeter, I can make like a panel loudspeaker for on your desk. That would be, I think that would be really cool because a lot of people ask for it, and with rubber magnets it becomes big, of course, and with neodymium planar magnetics I did before, it's hard to get resonance low enough without creating a really wide monster or having a really bad top end if you have floppy tension. So this might be something that could make this all possible. Having not too huge planar speakers on your desk and just playing from, I don't know, maybe 200 hertz and up, or 300, and then use a subwoofer to put your foot or your legs on. I don't know. Maybe I'll just start off with, you know, like just tiny, just start off small, maybe Bluetooth variant, something that can be used, and just fun, a fun project maybe. And then I'll probably will at least add it in the mini monitors and I don't know, maybe something else. The rubber band, have you sourced for it? A dealer from Europe will be. Oh, yeah, you can buy it from me if you want. Just ask me on Facebook, same name. I'm not gonna like discuss prices or something here. But for the top end, I recommend using maybe. You can use the rubber, but I noticed the tweeter is capable of keeping up with the mid-range and the bass, but at the very top end it's lacking a bit. That's why I was looking for ribbons, and I added some neos every now and then, etc., etc. Or you have to pat the base, which is of course a big huge problem because it well uses a lot of power, so that's not easy to pad. The only way to pad that is use a very crappy coil instead of an expensive coil, so you lose some output. But making the tweeter a little bit more efficient with a few neodymiums in there would be a good idea. You don't have to use the whole 1.5 meters of 6 rows neodymiums. That would be insanely overkill. So you could use like 2 rows, for instance, or 1 row maybe even might be enough. So that the rubber magnet does still a lot of the mid-range, and then there's one part playing a little bit louder, or way louder, so you can like match it better. I don't know, something like that, or make the ribbon side made earlier. That would be the ideal combination to be. So the big guns, the tweeter that's in there right now, let's do that like upper mid-range, and then the ribbon. So a 3-way. And I assure you, the ribbon doesn't cost much. It's just effort. I mean, on materials, I spend just, I don't know, 20 euros or something, maybe less. Yeah, something like that. Like maybe, yeah, soundbars usually used for televisions, I think, but maybe like a Bluetooth speaker with, you know, just some weird, some different than usual things. You know, just a bit like the Bluetooth speaker I made earlier, but then with some upgraded weird drivers. And maybe, well, and a sub of some sort. Yeah, I don't know. I could use one of those Tang bands we W5 thingies. The one that what's his name? Nick Walbert, I think, always uses on YouTube. Todd, 123 Todd, Toyd. He has like apparently he had quite a lot of these woofers. So every project he makes, he always uses this woofer. Often, at least. Although I am using this datum woofer because that's the only woofer I have laying around that is small. And just reuse it. That's why they become uglier and uglier, the housings. I have to redo them also to fit this tweeter, and also to replace the base, the tuning of the base port. Base port is on the back and it's too small, so it's scuffing, which is annoying. So I'm gonna move it to the top, which is really weird, but that gives me enough room to make the base, the tube, wider and thus longer. Otherwise it doesn't fit the box. No, I don't think he ever made something, and I think it's too much work, and it might not be. Maybe the amount of magnet. Well, I only sent him magnet, and maybe the amount of magnet is not enough. I think it's just. Well, he made a video about it, and it was funny, but he's not using it. I'm pretty sure if I send him maybe like complete tweeters, he will use it, I think. But yeah, he never made anything with the rubber magnet. Do you know any other guys that are building custom drivers? Not so much, but a few I think on extreme loudspeaker face group thing. Well, on DIY audio, enough people actually. DIYaudio.com /forums, and then look at exotics, planar exotics. Um, there's a lot of people making ASL loudspeakers, planar magnetic speakers, AMTs, Rubinoids. Yeah, lots of stuff. My name there is Rhinex, by the way. So I post a lot of stuff there as well. Before I used this YouTube stuff, I was only on DIY Audio because it's a really nice site and there are a few people on there that are really knowledgeable. This is one guy I always go to if I have like a question that I just don't have the brains for. Because you can test only so much. Sometimes it's easier to ask, but I don't do that very often. That's you, yeah. Rhinex is me, yeah. Yeah, that could well be. Because, yeah, a lot of people don't link it together. Because, well, I don't use my normal name on the forums there. And I'm also on a Dutch forum, Selfbouw Audio, and well, I can show you maybe some other stuff I made. Let's do that. Is that nice, or I don't know? It's just an idea. I don't know if there are any other YouTubers doing it. I don't think exactly this. I think they buy drivers and make speakers. That's what most do. And I've never seen. Well, no, not really with a channel. I think there might be some videos of people making their own driver. Of course, I'm pretty sure, but not much that only do this on YouTube. Let me see if I can like maybe find some designs and pictures stuff and get finally my face out of my screen. So yeah, this was the things we did just now. And then the mega ribbon, you've probably seen it once. This is a really close measurement, so this is not how it measures in room. But here I had a decent waterfall plot, I think. 90. Not sure what these settings were. This is not. Ooh, almost did it again. It was like really flat, like under 0 point something. I don't know what changed. Anyhow, these are some older things. So let me see. There are only. Ah, yeah, this was the AMT times. Probably seen it or not. So these are all AMT membranes, all kinds of different ones. This was the jig I used to make all these bends. Ah yeah, the paper AMTs. These were actually quite nice. They were very simple to make. They hold their shape really nicely. So you can make an AMT in several ways. Normally this is a sort of a triangle, which is the easiest way. You just make folds and then you have this. And that works. AMT has normally a little bit, it's not like a triangle but more like a slot. But this works as well, and this was really easy to make. And I played from 800 or something now, or 1000 up to 20k or something. But used like 6 big Neos. This was one I made with the Mylar I use nowadays. This, you can see this has like a different, this is not folded like a triangle, but just I used a jig for this one. So this was a 3mm deep one, I think. That's the AMT I got from Bonsai from DIY Audio. Measured really good. It's a really, well, really decent AMT. Big guns, you know the big guns. Bluetooth. Ah yeah, the Bonica build. You might recognize the shape, except that I made it a little bit more alien looking by like having this wood go up. Normally it's flat, but I wanted a little bit extra space here for the driver that I was gonna use. And for the base port is gonna be this part, and I didn't make it big enough, so it scuffed a lot of port noise. Really bad design for me. Although I did use a program to calculate it, but it sounded terrible. So it's just layers and layers. Um, yeah, concrete. I played with concrete a lot. Conductive fabric was also something I was interested in. So this is fabric, but I etched it, so this is conducting. Not sure. I wanted to use it for ESLs. I might have pictures of those as well. The stacked ESL. One of the things I still want to redo. EAP, also a very weird loudspeaker, but I don't have pictures of it apparently. Just videos. Like this one. Does this work? Yeah, I think this should work as well. With audio. So that's 2 pieces of HPL, and on both sides there's this EAP, artificial, what was it? Electroactive polymer. So artificial muscle. And I pump air in it, so it becomes a balloon, and then when you put sound in there, or at least use a transformer and put it on there, creates music. Very complicated and not so useful thing, but it was fun to do. Just drawings. First planar magnetic drive. Oh yeah, that's true. This was the first one I made. My CNC looked different back then. Tinier motor. Oh, So I used some magnets from an old Magnepan to see what it did. And a removable frame that holds the mylar. Stacked ESL, one of my favorite. So this is an electrostatic speaker made from PCB, and well, here it's etching for some spacers. Here's the whole bunch. And I'll stack them, and the result is the first picture, I think, this one. So here you can see the blue line is if you use one of the ESLs, and if you stacked it the way I did, red is 2 stacks, and green is 3 stacks. So you can you have quite a lot of more output if you use it this way. It's a funny method to make a ESL small and still be useful as a mid-range, for instance, mid-range up to tweeter. And the thing was also segmented, so this middle part only did top or did full range plus top end, and this ring around it did only the lower end. But you can you can just fantasize how to use this. You can do whatever you want. Do I have some really old ones? Let me read some chat things. Maybe I can answer some stuff. Do you know another guys that do? Yeah, most people are just making a cabinet. That's true, but even then, that's quite hard. I think there are a lot of things you have to obey to make a perfect cabinet and also a perfect loudspeaker. And the crossover part is, of course, quite hard. I'm no expert at crossovers at all. Bravo, I'm from the Netherlands. So yeah. What else do we got? I thought I had some really old designs here when I was 17 or something. Ah, these are the Louvre ESLs. Also a way of creating a stator. Same ashtray, same monitors. uh, oh, these are the really old ones, I think? No. So my documentation is kind of a mess, as you can see. Because there are also finished projects, but they're not in here. These are all tests by the look of it. But I don't know where they are. Here's my CNC, if you want to know how it's, or at least this should be the complete CNC. As it is standing in my shed. Oh, here they are, I think. Yeah. So my first proper speaker was the Cyber Needle, I think. Well, it's not definitely not my first, but when I once more began to build stuff, because there was a time where I didn't build anything. This was with Vinear. And then I discovered the electrostatic speakers, so I made this pair with a separate subwoofer, solo sound panels in my student home. Then I made this pair, also in my student home. With a woofer KEF B200 side firing woofer. Then some old Magnapans, and this one is a Philips MFB, I forgot the number, and on top of it is sitting 4 panels, ESL panels, the same as I used in the previous ones. That was a rather nice sounding setup for a very small floor space. And I like blank wood without any stuff on it. Here you can see it. I just literally dropped them on top of it. Ah yeah, the KEF. I received, or I bought, a pair of KEF 1042's reference. The guy spray painted it. Here, nice gray. Really nice. So I had to like fix them up because. And then there is a matched Vinear underneath. I really don't know why people fuck up their loudspeakers by spray painting them. This is how they looked in the end. Rather nice. I love the wood grain and stuff. Really, really decent, nice speaker. Also replaced the donuts inside, and well, so it was a perfectly fine playing speaker. Stocks as staff for these loudspeakers, and I'm looking for a decent amp for them. They are really inefficient and takes nearly 25 to make them as they're self-biasing. Does that still work? Oh, there in no way. There's no ESL in a box. It doesn't work. Indeed, that's why no one does it. They're all open baffle, but it might not look like it was, but they were. I use this chemical to get rid of the paint and leave it to soak really long, and then clean it off, and then sanded it down. And it really looks so. It's so nice to do when you finally can oil them and they look incredibly awesome. But they didn't sound as well in this room. I don't know, I didn't like it all that much. They should sound rather decent. But what do you recommend? I don't know, I'm not an amplifier expert. Get an amp that can go low in impedance, and I think you're done. This is the Magnapan 1D I once redid. That was a lot of work. So I redid it just like I did my big guns with the foil. Here they are naked. This is one with the socks on finally, because I made the socks myself, of course. And here they are done. And this is how they looked in my room. A little bit too big. My room is not big enough for this. And this is some DIN audio, I think. I once bought secondhand. I had a like fucked up tweeter. Not sure why there is a picture of them. This is a brochure about solo sound, the ESL I used often. And this is a speaker I once bought and cleaned up. It was like really ugly, and I made this stuff around it so it looked kind of decent. It is a transmission line, a bit like EMF, and someone built it himself, and I bought it, but it looked like shit, so I just applied some stuff on it so it looked rather decent and go really low. I love the CAF units, especially the T27 tweeter and the B200 woofer as well. Should be some weird Rubenoid things in here as well, yeah. Loads of it. I think this was my first etching test. This one was. Can I etch? And here I am. Yeah, this was the first etching test. Way too thin traces I used here, but eventually it worked. But all kinds of Rubenoids. I made a lot of those as well. A lot of Rubenoids. It was one of my first, I think. Might have my first Rubenoid. I think it's this one. It's also filmed like incorrectly. Can I switch this? Hmm. Can I rotate this? No. Funny thing is, it sounds pretty much the same everywhere in the room, except for a really close point. So I made a lot of those. This is a big frame for a Rubenoid. This is the big Rubenoid in the end. On some bags of sand. I mean, why not? Would you prefer open baffle speakers or doesn't matter for you? I prefer. I think. Well, by the looks of it, I prefer open baffle, but that might be because the stuff I make is usually meant for open baffle. What goes wrong with your etching, George? I mean, I've got enough failures. I'm pretty sure they didn't work out, all of them. Some did, some. Hmm. This is coil etching for rubenoids, which makes, well, it's far easier than winding it. Although I did try that as well. The Omni ESL, you've probably seen the video, which is funny. Oh, what is this? That's my first CNC. Just in a really small room, I made all the linear reels myself with skate bearings and such. It was making the second CNC, or at least parts for it. Here it is making parts for the CNC I use right now. Not bad. Anyhow. And this was the first version I made with lots of magnets, by the way. And the method I still use. This is a lot of magnets. It's also way thicker magnet and longer as well than I use right now, because I couldn't get hold of many of those. Like 100 I have, but I wanted more. This is what it became. There might be a fucked coil. Response was rather okay-ish. Here, this is if you're into safety, this is I think my safest video. I think my best idea ever. Don't try this at home. I was gonna curve bend, so I wanted to, I wanted to make this round enclosure. Came this weird thing, this bucket. But yeah. Yeah, this is also stacked ESL. But using this conductive fabric, I believe. So a lot of just trying and fail stuff. But why not? Mm-hmm. And this is also holding, I think, the whole mini monitor in dry. These are all versions, and I left out a few. these are the woofers, or the enclosures for the mini monitors, lay down on the sizes of wood I could get. So I was like playing around how to. I wanted to like make it from one piece or something, one piece of wood, and just CNC it, and then you have all the materials for one speaker. That was the idea. Just keep it simple, I thought. Let's keep it simple. As you can see here, I moved the base reflex to the top, so it can be as long as the enclosure is high, which makes it possible to make the base reflex wider, so it doesn't like make puff noises anymore. Since it's doing that, if you play at low or high volume, it puffs, which is annoying. I'll grab something to drink real quick. There should be a method that the cam is also visible somewhere in the corner, I think. Let's see if I can. That's not working. Why not? Shit, I screwed up my resolution. Oh, you had a long message, George. I've seen the long message, but you pulled it back. So, Martin, may I ask what is your profession? Well, my profession is well, at least where I studied for was what is it? ICT as well, and but my latest study, which is also 10 years ago almost, was as a sound engineer or sound guy for film and television. So recording sound for film and television and mixing it and such. Sound designer, actually. A soundboard behind me. Well, it was this homemade soundproofing, and there's not much left of it. I have more because I was mixing a really cheap television show mostly from home, and where I'm mixing like the editing, but it's quite hard if your room is like has a huge flutter echo. So there's one behind me, and there's one above me, and there was one on my door, and there was another one. The reason was you can easily hear if the room was if my door was open or not. If the door was open, it had like a really reverberant, annoying sound, and if I closed it, it was much better. So it helped quite a lot. If I can say you a number for the two, for 100 meters of stuff. Depends on where it has to go, because it's quite hefty. I mean, it's like, what was it, 8 kilos a piece or something? Yeah, the circular saw might not be a good idea, to be honest. I only did it once. It's kind of weird that I even made this aluminium thing to be able to put it on there. That I put the effort in there to put a circular saw on there. I really wanted to curve bend, and there's no way I can cut a 1 millimeter slot or a 1.5 millimeter slot with just a normal cutter. But my spindle is also a Chinese spindle. But 600 watts, that's a kind of weird number for a spindle. It's like a really tiny spindle. I mean, I know only the water-cooled ones that are like 1.5 kilowatt or something. And this is an air-cooled spindle of 2.2 kilowatt. Which so far I'm pretty pleased with. It never had a problem with anything. Except if you run it like completely through the material. I've had that once. It will stop eventually after making a lot of smoke. I'm just hovering here in. So this is how I design. So this is already version 7. So then I decided to make a cabinet and such. And now we are here, version 1000. So this is where with this design I started to make it like the way it is right now, like weird ribbon stylish. And then I make this one in the previous live stream, I think. Then I made one myself without live streaming it, and now we did make this one. So if I want to lower the impedance of the tweeter, because it was 4.7, which is too high, that means I have to redo all this, because then that means that the tracks have to be wider, but it also means that I probably have to ditch one track. And that makes it hard, because then it's not only the fact you make it wider that it lowers the impedance, but you also, the length of the coil will decrease because I have to ditch one track. And I checked my corrugator is, I believe, a maximum capacity of 14 or 15 centimeters. So this is what this length it could, or width it can corrugate. So I could make this thing a little bit bigger, which I will do in the end if I'm gonna use it as a upper mid-range driver or something. Here, even the map is called New 1000. I think this was part of the. This was the continuous ribbon thing I made a video about. And I thought I always also had like mega ribbon. Yeah. These are clearly inspired on a apogee membrane, this thing at least. And this is the mega ribbon I once made. How wide is this? Because this went through the corrugation. Yeah, 14.6, so that's the maximum it can handle. It would be safer to do 14 centimeters wide. And this worked out sort of. But here I use it as a normal ribbon. What I am gonna do, I guess, is redo it and make it the same as I did with the tweeters. Like like turning it around like so. I don't know. I draw a lot of stuff and then not use it in the end. Sometimes yeah, sometimes I do. Ah, to Germany. Well, that's easy to do. Um, are you on Facebook? Because I have to look up what it was, what I asked previously for other people as well to be kind of in the ballpark. I have a tendency to just call a number which is way too low, and then I feel shitty because I already said it, so I have to sell it for that amount. And then yeah, you know the drill. I usually just flap out a number that is too low because I'm scared to ask too much. But yeah. So I will want to try to keep it the same for everyone. But I got still 5 rolls left. So I got 250 meters of rubber magnet because I wanted to make a big gun as well, just as you want to build right now, um, and just change some stuff. Mines are still in pieces sitting in the back of the corner. I'm not using them at the moment. I hardly ever use my own speakers, I think, because most of the time I'm sitting behind this computer. But it would be nice to have 2 working speakers soon again, once. Yeah, it's a low voltage spindle then, I guess. Mm-hmm. Let's reopen that measurement real quick. I'm still curious. And add a piece of music. Just a tiny. It's the only music I can use at the moment that is not demonetized straight away, so I'll check if it's not incredibly loud. Um, Desktop audio not working. Oh. Is this annoying volume? No, I don't think so. Here, I did this design earlier. Ribbon like Neo 10. Oh, this is from yesterday. But I'm pretty sure I did it earlier, like a year ago. But I was looking for the thing we just made. Where the fuck is it? It's weird, this hump here. Really looks like sort of a breakup here. Which is also weird that the latest ribbon we just made like an hour ago. Let me match it on volume, maybe that helps. So I'm gonna increase the volume of the, or decrease the other one. So I'm gonna level it up here, sort of. Okay, so they do actually kind of the same. Just the swing is a little bit more heavier on the one I just made, and I'm not sure why. So that's too bad. But I do like that this peak is gone. Just floop, gone. Face is just a line, sort of, as you would expect. But this one was out of phase when I was connected, apparently, compared to this one. And here it is playing full range, okay. And near resonance, or it might not even be resonance, but it's slapping against the magnet here, so that's disgusting. But it's like only 32% distortion. It's mostly distortion. This is also quite high. Oh, should be lower. Should measure it close up for distortion. This is unusable, except for the huge peak that this one disappeared. So I'm gonna play some more, I guess. I think that's enough streaming for today. 2 hours is more than enough. I'll see you later. Hey, the image is better now. There is no light anymore. That's weird. So see you next time, and hopefully I can make something useful from this tiny tweeters. Who knows? See you around. Bye bye. Oh, bravo! Check my Facebook. My name is this, as you might expect. See ya. Bye bye.